Welcome back. Today we follow nomadic herders building a winter sanctuary. Leaving the main herd behind, the journey shifts into the dense timberland. The sled bears the structural bones of their shelter, traversing deep drifts where the wind cannot easily penetrate. Arriving under darkness forces immediate priorities. Processing the reindeer carcass in the cold acts as a natural preservation method, instantly flash freezing the meat to prevent spoilage. Hanging the reserves high in the branches keeps them clear of nocturnal scavengers. With sustenance secured, the focus shifts entirely to constructing the primary shelter. The builders lash the first structural poles using tension knots. These bindings must remain flexible to absorb heavy wind shear without snapping the timber. Before the walls go up, the heating core is established. The cast iron stove serves as the anchor point for the entire dwelling. By installing the chimney pipe first, they ensure proper draft clearance and determine the exact apex of the conical frame. This careful sequencing prevents fatal smoke accumulation once the heavy canvas completely seals them inside. Raising the primary frame requires long, straight timber capable of bearing immense compressive loads. A conical A-frame naturally sheds accumulating snow, converting downward weight into lateral stability. The more snow packs against the exterior, the tighter these wooden joints will compress together. The architecture uses the hostile environment to reinforce itself. With the frame erected, the rest of the family navigates the deep drifts to reach the site. Moving dependents through this terrain requires significant caloric expenditure, making the pre-warmed shelter critical upon arrival. The sleds are engineered with wide, curved runners to distribute weight over the power, preventing them from sinking into the unforgiving snowpack.
Хорошая елочка.
Processing timber on a dedicated stump transfers the kinetic energy directly into the wood, rather than the soft ground. Dry wood splits along the grain instantly, providing the necessary tinder to bring the cast iron stove up to operating temperature. Inside the shelter, establishing a sustained burn is paramount. The initial firing drives out lingering moisture from the surrounding canvas, shrinking the fibers to create a windproof barrier. Stoking the firebox with dense, slow-burning hardwood stabilizes the internal ambient temperature, creating a microclimate that drastically contrasts the freezing exterior. The metal stove radiates heat evenly across the confined footprint.
Mas escuta.
The interior layout is organized around thermal zones. Perishable supplies hang near the outer perimeter, where the ambient air remains just above freezing, acting as an integrated refrigerator. Water reserves and heavy cooking implements stay close to the central heat source to prevent freezing and ensure immediate access. Utilizing the vertical space along the wooden supports maximizes the functional floor area for the family. Every object has a designated place governed by its reaction to the central fire.
Анжела, твоего малыша утащили. Одежда у них осталась. О, мои любимые пасти.
Да, это твои любимые.
Processing large cuts outdoors keeps the interior living space sanitary and free of blood. The freezing ground acts as a clean workbench. When the ambient temperature drops well below zero, muscle tissue becomes as dense as hardwood. A reciprocating saw shears through the frozen bone and sinew far more efficiently than hand tools, conserving precious energy reserves during the short daylight hours. Once sectioned into manageable blocks, the meat is brought inside to begin thawing. The sudden shift from deep freeze to a warm environment accelerates the breakdown of muscle fibers, tenderizing the dense protein. Preparing these high-calorie meals is a constant cycle necessary to fuel the human furnace against the persistent cold.
У тебя 3, у меня 3. 3. Телефон. You love her.
Cooking directly over the open firebox requires constant attention to draft control. By opening the lower metal door, oxygen rushes over the coals, instantly spiking the thermal output to achieve a rapid boil. Animal fats and heavy proteins render down slowly in the suspended pot. This continuous simmering extracts maximum nutritional yield from the marrow and connective tissues, forming a rich broth essential for winter survival.
Я бы на место папы сидеть.
На маме, папе на место.
Я в шоке.
Сейчас буду видеть.
Simple carbohydrates and hot tea provide immediate thermal energy for the children. The warm liquids raise their core temperature from the inside out, bridging the gap until the heavy proteins finish rendering on the stove.
Юра, чупик возьми. Чупик возьмите.
Чупики. Оля, чупики. Чупа, чупа, чупа.
Clean snow is harvested away from the main footpaths to prevent contamination. Inside, the maintenance of thermal gear is a constant necessity. Heavy hides require thick, waxed thread and a metal thimble to push the needle through the dense leather. These layered fur garments are sophisticated insulation systems, trapping a layer of dead air against the body. Repairing a split seam immediately prevents a catastrophic loss of body heat later.
Эту тоже? Только здесь они опустят. Он что тебе?
Converting granular snow into drinking water requires a massive amount of thermal energy. Packing the heavy metallic pot with loose powder begins the slow process of phase transition. Boiling dense starches into the rendered meat broth thickens the stew, increasing its caloric density. The pasta absorbs the infused animal fats, transforming into a highly efficient delivery system for sustained energy. Cooking in a single, large vessel minimizes water waste and concentrates the radiant heat directly into the food. The entire shelter operates around this steady, rhythmic preparation of fuel.
Вот, видишь? Такая, что? Мама, мне,
Portioning the hot stew directly from the stove ensures zero heat is lost to the ambient air during serving. Raw fish provides essential vitamins that break down during traditional cooking methods. The evening meal replaces the thousands of calories burned, simply trying to stay warm throughout the day. Before sleep, the stove is loaded with the largest, slowest burning logs to maintain a baseline temperature until dawn. Bedding is arranged along the inner perimeter, insulated by thick furs from the cold ground and protected by vibrant fabrics that catch the radiant heat. The fabric also acts as a final baffle against any drafts, penetrating the outer canvas.
Папа ложит. Вот он живет. Где потеряшка? Вот она моя потеряшка. Давай. А я?
What was just an empty snowfield is now a thriving microenvironment, a protective shell holding back the Arctic winter.